this is Shanzai.com in Taipan here again, and we're back in the labs taking a look at yet another 7-inch iPad-like tablet device. And this one, this time, is the Moonsea 7001. Now, it's actually quite a good device. It's based around a Rockchip processor, the 2808. And I think we should probably start off with a little look at the hardware features in the device itself. Obviously, a 7-inch form factor is quite small compared to the iPad, but again, as we've often said before, we prefer and like this size for device for portability. Again, the backplating here is a unibody design. We saw lots of those at Computex, but this is the first time we've really had one in-house to play around with it and get the actual feel and usage of one. It feels really sturdy, feels incredibly solid. It doesn't feel like you have any worries about whether the product would break or snap easily while you're handling it. In that sense, for a consumer-like product, it's well designed, it's attractive, it's actually quite solid. So we're really impressed with that. Right off the bat, we say that's one of the best things about the product. One of the things that we love about this device right off the bat after playing around with it is the video performance. The Rockchip SoC seems to have some very good video decoding and encoding compared to some of the devices that we've looked at recently. Loading up the video player here now. You can see we've loaded our booth bay video that we've done for you earlier. Some of you might have noticed on our YouTube channel. And we put up quite a few different versions of that with the 480p formats of MP4 and WMV. We also loaded some 720p versions of the video. Now let's first start off with an H.264 480p version of the booth bay video to give you a little bit of an idea of what the playback is like. And here we go. Now, as you can see, the video is actually running and playing fairly smoothly. I would say we're quite happy with the performance in that sense. One of the weak spots of the device, though, is that there is a speaker on the device and you can't actually hear it. You can hear a little faint noise. I don't know if we're even able to pick that up on the video camera, to be honest, but it's having a very faint noise on it. Now, when you have your headphones in, we've tested it, the sound quality is perfectly fine, but for some reason, the speaker on this particular device, I'm not sure if that's the case with all of them, is not really that particularly great in terms of performance. Now, let's bring that video to a halt there for a moment. Now, this time we're going to try a WMV9 480p video. And you can see, yeah, once again, the Rockchip SoC seems to be handling that well. Again, this one seems to fill up the screen a little bit more. Probably just the way the videos were rendered probably gives a different formatting. And you can see the video plays quite well there. Performance is good, girls look great. Now, going back to the 720p videos. Now, at this point, I think you'll see that the device does try to get into the 720p video playback, but from what we've been able to tell after watching a video continuously, you can see that the videos have slowed down a little bit. They're a little bit choppy in places where they keep kind of stopping, and actually, depending on which format of 720p you're doing, we find there's actually even kind of green screens a little bit where you get some blotchiness on the screen. So the 480p playback is quite good and very impressive on the device. 720p, not quite so great. Now let's get out of there, back onto the home screen. Now, of course, if this video device is going to be all about great video playback, it's also got to be able to play YouTube. Now, we downloaded the YouTube application. That was another nice thing about the devices. We went on to some of the different websites and were able to download some APK files. We added in our Facebook and our Skype and our YouTube video applications, no problem. They all installed fine and dandy. The YouTube application is now loading up, probably trying to connect to the internet. And actually, we've already got a video that we've been playing earlier. And this is actually the YouTube format showing here straight off of the device. So this is now streaming from the internet through the YouTube player on the device. And again, you can see the playback is fine and smooth as it streams. So I think that's kind of impressive. Let's get off of YouTube there for a moment. And let's take a look around at some of the other functions of the device. Now, up here in the right-hand corner, there is a small, actually there's two small windows. One of those has got a power light indicator on it, so that when you've got your device plugged in, you know that it's charging and powering up. And the other one here is a tiny 1.3 megapixel web camera. Clicking on the camera button, whoop, you get to see a handsome shot of me there. And you can see that it's a front-facing web camera, works fine. If you're going to use that for some kind of video conferencing software, that would probably be fine for performance for that. So let's fire up the market here. Getting to your basic market home pages. Whoops, sorry there, that's my fault. Let's get back into the market again. So it is pulling the market data, so you can see, okay, here's some of their sample apps that they're showing you, games, search different areas. Let's look into the games area. Let's look at all games. By popularity, okay, there's Solitaire, really popular. Everybody, has got onto their mobile lifestyle and they still want to play their PC Solitaire game. Let's load it up. Explanation of the game, install. Your item will now be downloaded. So, if we look into our My Downloads area, we'll see some of the different apps that we've been trying to download. This was really exciting for us. We were getting all psyched about it, but actually, our experience is we're not able to actually download the devices or the applications. It goes into a complete hold mode where it just looks like they're trying to download them. These are the ones that we canceled earlier that we tried. Goal.com, we're still praying because we love our football, but it's not working, and now Solitaire is not quite starting that, initiate that download process either. Which is a shame, but of course you can go to other websites and download the APK files separately using the SD card slot that you find here on the end of the device. You can add your apps in manually that way and load them. We had no trouble doing that whatsoever. Speaking of some of the little I/O on the device, maybe we should take a little quick walk around the device to finish things up for you. Yes, it's a typical unibody iPad-like type design, but on the end here we've got a small pinhole for your power supply, very small thin power supply connector. In fact, this one's even got an adapter on the end of it so that it can make this power supply connection even smaller to fit into that pinhole. Headphones out. There's a small mini USB, 2 of them connections here, and then actually a dedicated on and off power switch is kind of nice as well. Here we've got a little micro SD card slot, and we've also got a microphone pinhole here as well. So you've got just one connection for your earphones this time, and you can do your microphone directly into the device. On the top we've got a rocker switch here. Now actually we need to mention in this, typically on your Android-based devices you'll find a 3-button home, menu, and return, typical hardware keys. This particular device has got them mapped a little bit strangely. Pressing the back side of the rocker brings you here to the home page, or in this case, because we're already on the home page, brings up some of your basic apps. Pressing forward brings up your menu settings. So forward on the rocker switch is menu, back is home, and then what should be your home button is this typical button here, which you'll find on the iPad, brings you home, and other devices, but in this case actually just dims your device. So bringing your device on and off with this particular implementation is this button here. If I had my choice, I would have mapped that as a return to home button. It feels really natural to be hitting that button and coming back to the home screen, but what it does is actually dims your device on and off. So anyway, that's a basic look at the Moons 71001, and I think it's probably one of the better consumer type products. It's, like I said, it's very pocketable, it looks nice, it's great, you wouldn't be embarrassed to carry that around in front of you. I'm sure your friends who don't know the iPad would probably think it's an iPad until you explain that it's a 7-inch Moonsy device. Performance overall is pretty good in terms of reaction time and speed. The Rockchip's done good on that. Where the Rockchips really stood out, from our opinion, is in the areas of video. The rest of the application